More Xbox Series X information announced yesterday from the man himself, Phil Spencer. 12 terafloppies sounds really impressive, plus a whole bunch of gaming stuff happening with Xbox. So we are going to discuss that in Chat with Matt. Coming up. Hi, welcome back to Chat with Matt. My name is Matt, and I'll be taking you through this Xbox Series X news. So, of course, the latest generation of the Xbox One, or I suppose Xbox, is now going to be called the Xbox Series X. It was originally codenamed Scarlet. Yesterday, we found out a whole bunch of news as far as specs, and then hopefully come E3, we'll find out even more news. So, let's talk about it. Should you consider an Xbox Series X? What's going to happen with it? Let's dive right in. So first of all, we learned some about the power. It's going to have 10 teraflops GPU. That is comparable, well, a little bit over a GTX 2080 Super, which is at 11.15 teraflops, but still under the most powerful GPU right now from the NVIDIA line, which is the 2080 Ti. So still going to be quite powerful, and about twice as powerful as the Xbox One S. Very nice. We'll talk about the pricing in a little bit, but that's going to be lead it to be a little bit more expensive. So we'll see where they can get with that. Now it's going to support ray tracing. That includes ray tracing audio, so you have better positional audio. So kind of the step ups that we would like to see from next generation hardware, along with what the PS5 announced is also going to have SSD and 120 frames per second support. Now, the PS5, I don't know if it has 120 frames per second support. It hasn't said that, but the Xbox Series X does. That's great for first-person shooter gaming or anything that requires any sort of Twitch gaming. Really good news as far as the power standpoint. Moving on, we have features. The neatest features was the quick resume. So you can have multiple games open at once now, and then you can resume it right where you left off. There's actually a report from Verge which said the guy was playing the Xbox Series X. The system needed to update. It updated, turned off, rebooted. After the reboot, it resumed right where it left off in the game that he was at. That is super cool. Just a feature that we see in phones and a lot of mobile devices. Actually, the PS Vita it didn't have the restart, but you could just quickly resume it. So I'm excited for that. That is something that is kind of expected, but hasn't been shown in the current hardware. So it should help. The second note was smart delivery. So this is the name that Microsoft has given its pay for a game once, and then it just kind of upgrades with you. So if you start with the regular Xbox One version, and then let's say you buy the more powerful Xbox One S, and naming conventions, we'll get to that later. You buy the more powerful Xbox One S, it just becomes the better version of that game. They're saying the same thing will happen with the Xbox Series S. So you buy Halo Infinite, which will be the newest Halo game, the sixth one in the main series, and you buy it for the original Xbox One. Well, if you get the Xbox Series X, well, guess what? You have that version of the game, and it runs better, smoother, ray tracing, all that great stuff. That is an awesome thing for the consumer. Now, Microsoft has said they're leaving it up to each game maker or game manufacturer what they want to do with it. So I think you will see some totally opt out of it, and then some take advantage of it. We'll talk to that a little bit later. That is a major positive, though. Really consumer focused. And then also the Xbox Series X, last of the features, will continue the Game Pass, which has been pretty successful. They've gotten some really great games for the Xbox. Moving on, the price. No one really knows. There's a lot of speculation. We're thinking $500+, especially with the 12 teraflops GPU. Could be up to $600, even more. We'll see exactly where it falls. Is Xbox going to price themselves out of this generation a little bit? It remains to be seen. I think they need to be competitive, and that's why Sony right now seems to be waiting on the price and power front. They haven't revealed everything quite yet. In addition to that, my cat in the back. In addition to that, the looks is going to be a square tower. It's a square tower. I mean, it's going to be a video game console. You're going to hide it somewhere, and it's going to be fine. The coolest thing, or one of the cooler aspects. So it will be, again, backwards compatible. They're going to be calling that the smart delivery feature. Guess what else is backwards compatible with? Controllers. So Xbox has a very nice controller. You can just use all of your old controllers with the new Series X. The controller for the Series X itself will be very similar. It's going to be a little bit smaller and actually replace one of the buttons with a share button similar to what the PS4 has right now. So their controllers are great. I expect nothing less from them. They've had some of the best controllers of the past generation. A lot of the controllers now have become pretty good. So that is very cool. That is going to be cross-compatible with everything. Now moving on from that, the naming convention. You have seen me stumble throughout this entire video on Xbox Series X. Even for me in the know, I've been looking at tons of information, just trying to figure out what we know, what we don't know about it, some of the speculation. And when I first looked it up, I looked up Xbox One X. It is not Xbox One, it is Xbox Series X, but there is an Xbox One S. I don't know, the naming's just horrible. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you not? You even have your Microsoft Surface lines, which you name, you have the Surface Pro and then you have the Surface 4. You have the naming conventions with the number. The one positive I can say is that it is going to be released in parity with the PlayStation 5. So it's going to be talked about in the same moment. But when you go to the store and you try and pick out something, hey, there's all these different Xbox SKUs and the series that, well, I'm just going to get the one that seems to be powerful and it's kind of right in the middle. I don't know. Could and not affect it at all. I think it's a very kind of dumb choice, to be honest. I don't think the name Series X is smart from a marketing or just confusion standpoint. The Wii to Wii U, no one knew that was a new console. Again, that did launch alone. So it launching, again, in parity with the PlayStation 5 might help it a little bit on that front. It may not affect it at all. Who knows? Lastly, the games. The games are what needs to be locked down. So we have Halo Infinite, but that is also going to be an Xbox One game. So you get the free upgrade. That's pretty neat. But if it runs well enough, and that's what we've talked about before, is that these generations are getting less and less intense as far as the changes. So you see Nintendo Switch is able to complete with completely underpowered hardware. It's because of the games. It has phenomenal games, and you can run some really great stuff on some really not expensive hardware these current days. So yes, there's all these amazing techniques being introduced, and I think some really cool things. The thing that I'm most excited for is actually going to be the SSD and no load times, or very few load times. But what games are you going to have? So Halo Infinite, of course, there's going to be Cyberpunk 2020, which is going to be on every platform. I think that will be one of the games that uses this new smart delivery thing, because it is CD Projekt Red. They made the Witcher games. They're pretty focused on giving a great experience to the consumer, and they're pretty consumer friendly from all their statements that I've seen in the past. So I think they will be giving a free upgrade, but it remains to be seen. And then we'll see at E3, where Xbox probably trots out its stable of developers. It's been accumulating developers over the past several years, and I have no doubt in my mind they've been making stuff for the Xbox Series X. So it will be very cool. They have a huge competition, and they can't just beat PlayStation. They have to trounce them. They have to really steal all the people from PlayStation, because this next generation, everyone's going to be considering, should I go with PlayStation? Should I go with Xbox? Usually have one or the other. Some will have multiple. But they need to be considering that most people will be getting one, and they need to come out super strong, super consumer focused. And I haven't seen anything quite yet, but it will all depend on the games. Well, thank you very much. This has been a chat with Matt. We're going to talk about the PlayStation 4 next time, what we know about that. Should you buy a PlayStation 4? Should you buy an Xbox Series X? We'll compare the two later. And of course, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching my last video on Sodi Pop Gaming News. It did pretty well, 120, 130 views, and I got a whole bunch of new subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. I appreciate everything you guys do, all my friends and family that are watching too. All right, and of course, on all social media, I'm for the most part Sodi Pop Media. Thank you very much. Remember, be yourself and have a cookie. Bye.